Hey guys, Hope here. Gonna be doing a reaction to Game Theory FNAF Mystery Solve Part 2. First half. Apparently there's more than one of this, but I also only react to one of these videos. So, yeah, apparently on Netflix they got Thor Ragnarok up and Coco. Also, I've been checking Troll Hunters a lot. That's kind of cool. Says that, yeah, I guess we'll just get to the video. That's all. That's all. No one. Alright, back to the kids with the souls and the robots and the killer security dude. This is weird.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory! We may not have made FNAF, but I like to think we've at least made it a bit more interesting. So in part 1 of this
I'm not sure if I want to play that game. I hate jump scares.
Theory, we covered everything from the origins of the shadow animatronics, to the reason for Golden Freddy's ghostly behavior, to proof of what suit the killer uses. We clarified the timeline and even went so far as to dispel the myth that the killer is the one shoving the bodies into the suits. Click here if you missed it to get caught up. Don't worry, I'll wait. This is a pausable video.
I thought the last one said
Today we're covering the
that the spirit put the kids in the body.
The final bits
It put the kids' bodies in the machine.
And most importantly of all,
or was that the soul?
Identity of the purple guy. So enough intro, let's cut to the chase. When we left things off, there had been another round of murder done in Fazbear Pizza. Purple guy had once again used a golden Bonnie suit to lure in another set of 5 kids and kill them, as depicted in the Save Them minigame from FNAF 2. The place gets closed for investigation a few days later.
What's so funny?
Nothing. Relax, buddy.
But the one thing that practically everyone overlooks in this location is that it gets reopened. In FNAF 2, the Night 1 phone call welcomes you to your new summer job at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
Hello and welcome to your new summer job at the new and improved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
Yeah, let's hope you don't die this time.
The check at the end of the week reads November. There is not a single place in the world where November is a summer month. Not one. Meaning that these tapes, all these tapes, are pre-recorded. And honestly, that shouldn't be a surprise. Phone Guy's calls are recordings in every game. In FNAF 1, before Phone Guy dies, he says he's glad he recorded these messages when he did.
I'm kind of glad that I recorded my messages for you.
And then in FNAF 3, they find the old training tapes the Phone Guy made.
First of all, we found some vintage audio training cassettes. Dude, these are like prehistoric. I think they were like training tapes.
In short, all of Phone Guy's messages are unstuck in time, not recorded anytime near your tenure as security guard. That includes the ones in FNAF 2 talking about children going missing.
Why the hell would you want to hold on to those?
Shut down for an investigation of some missing children the week you have.
Oh yeah, you have to warn them about the machines, but still.
Tapes meant for the night security guard from months ago. Need more proof? Night 6's call references a birthday party happening as the last event before the building closes. But what decorations do we see put up throughout the building for the entirety of the week you're working there? Happy birthday banners. Confusing? You betcha. Game-changing? Absolutely. This means that both Jeremy and Fritz, the characters you play as throughout FNAF 2, aren't the killer purple guy at all. They were both working in November, after the yellow suit investigation and the killer getting charged. Which brings us to the other key point in the timeline, the bite of 87. Ever since we heard about this mysterious frontal lobe nibble on the first fateful night at Freddy's, we
saying about a bit of kid or something.
About this bizarre attack, the one that ends up resulting in animatronics no longer being allowed to walk around during the day. But now, 3 games in, we do know more. We know it took place in the location of FNAF 2 based on the 1987 date on Jeremy's paycheck. And furthermore, the newspaper clipping that ends FNAF 2 gives us a clue that it's the bite which closes this version of the restaurant, not not some serial killing. Quote, after being open a few short weeks, the restaurant is closing its doors, the article says, with the new animatronics being scrapped for possible malfunction. That's game designer Scott Cawthon telling us that one of the new toy animatronics bit someone during the day. Why else would the new robots be scrapped while the old ones get kept for possible reorganization? Well, outside of an obvious need to retcon why these new robots didn't appear in Five Nights 1. It's because the company considered them safer, relatively speaking. So, then who's the biter? Well, it's none other than the pile of scraps and parts, Mangle. The most obvious clue is the animatronic's unhinged jaw. The frontal lobe is the biggest part of the human brain, and the size and shape of the other toy robots' mouths just wouldn't be able to handle the size of the human head, especially when you compare it to the Mangle's narrow snout and wide open mouth.
That would be scary as hell.
Potential angle of attack. As shown by its jump scare, Mangle goes for the top of the head. And who got bit? Well, there isn't enough evidence to say definitively, but your most likely candidate would be fan favorite Jeremy Fitzgerald. Jeremy passes the test, and on his paycheck at the end of the week, he's welcomed into the family, presumably getting moved to day shift. Fritz gets hired to replace him on day 7, but then promptly gets fired for tampering with the animatronics. That means he's not likely the one to get bit. And
why would you mess with the
person
robot?
who follows him on day shift is, leaving Jeremy as the most likely frontal lobeless candidate. But regardless of whether it's Jeremy or some other customer we've never met, someone gets bit, the restaurant closes for good, and as the newspaper clippings show, the old animatronics go into storage awaiting a smaller location with a lower budget. Fast forward to the 90s and FNAF 1. We know it's the 90s based on the hourly rate of the paycheck received by Mike Schmidt, security guard extraordinaire from the first game, something we proved in our first Five Nights video. And now we can breathe a sigh of relief, because this was the beautiful time long ago.
Yeah.
August, when the games weren't so complicated, when the biggest mysteries were a game-crashing gold bear and the words, "It's me." No death minigames, no puppets, no need to shoehorn in extra overcomplicated storylines. That all would come later when the first game became a smash hit and got itself some sequels. Boy, did those sequels make things complicated, as both featured 8-bit minigames revealing more details about this location from the original game. First things first, we know that the purple guy kills 5 children here. We see it in the Foxy Go 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 minigame from FNAF 2. Foxy runs past a grinning purple guy to see 5 dead bodies. Sorry, no fireworks this time, Foxy. And how do we know it's the FNAF 1 location? Well, it's the only time in the game when Foxy's stage, Pirate Cove, is located to the west of a dining area. See how he performs for the children by running to the right? That matches the map layout of the FNAF 1 pizzeria. We also know from the FNAF 3 minigames that this is where the purple guy dies inside a golden Springlock Bonnie suit in a safe room near the back. One built so that it would never show up on camera, conveniently explaining why it never appeared in the first game. But hold on, weren't those safe rooms sealed up a long time ago? I mean, we touched on this last episode, but the old recordings of Phone Guy we listened to throughout FNAF 3 say that these rooms are being closed off, discontinued, and will never be mentioned again. Why would a location 20 years later possess a safe room unless it was the same building as the first Freddy Fazbear's Pizza location? That's why it's in such disrepair when we see it in the FNAF 3 minigames, boarded up with rats on the floor. It's been closed down for years, which also means
what's in
the
there.
dead kids from the Foxy Go 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 minigame aren't another set of new victims, cause seriously, at this point, the killer would have made his way through like a short bus full of pizza-hungry children. No, those kids are the first 5 dead kids, the ones who would eventually possess Old Bonnie, Chica, Freddy Foxy, and Golden Freddy. I mean, look, if the animatronics were possessed at this point, don't you think Foxy would be attacking Purple Guy rather than just running past him to perform for some dead kids? This also explains the random cutscene from FNAF 2 where the puppet's looking into Freddy's eyes. You can tell by the tables in the background and the design of both Bonnie and Chica that this is the FNAF 1 location.
That don't kill me feeling.
But it's not a flash forward to the game's next location, but rather a flash back to the moment the puppet brought these characters, these children, to life. Okay, but that's just tying together some loose ends in the story. We're interested in how this whole thing ends, and and those FNAF 3 minigames give us the conclusion we're looking for. These flashback minigames show Purple Guy dismantling the animatronics from the security of the safe room one by one, but in doing so, he's unwittingly releasing the spirits of his former victims. Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy,
wonder what they're gonna do with the spirits, or what the spirits can do.
Powers combined, they are able to scare Purple Guy into the Golden Bonnie spring-lock suit, which fails, crushes him pretty much to the point of death, though notice we never actually see him die, and the spirits fade away. Golden Bonnie, with Purple Guy inside, now known as Springtrap, rots away in the safe room for years until he's finally uncovered by the founders of Fazbear's Fright from the third game. With the
so the killer is still... the spirit is stuck in that animatronic.
And murder of the pizzeria chain finally has their first real animatronic, who then haunts the player for 5 nights and a nightmare night until the place burns down due to faulty wiring.
This is a very flammable mixture that's also undetectable. If we put it on the electric box and 2 of the outlets, then light them all at once, it'll look like a short circuit.
Geez, Mort, how the hell do you know how to do all this?
Oh, it's all covered in the Torah, right after the chapter on writing complaint letters that will result in compensatory merchandise.
The end. Take a bow. It's finally over. Well, kinda. We're still left with one final, seemingly impossible question to answer. Who is the Purple Guy? After spending, I kid you not, full days plotting out all the details of this game franchise on whiteboards, talking it over with anyone who would stand to listen to me ramble on and on about fictional haunted robots, and just looking at it from every possible angle, all logic points to it being...
Well, I don't want to be the cliffhanging guy, so I'll do the other video too.
The Phone Guy.
Hey, relax, guy. I'm just your average Joe. Take a ride.
And no, not because I made a theory about it and refused to let it die. Honestly,
it was kind of obvious.
I care less if that last video was wrong. At this point, I just care about the truth, and Phone Guy makes the most logical sense. I know your complaints, and I promise you, if you stick with me, you'll be convinced. First, there's the circumstantial evidence I presented during my FNAF 2 theory. Phone Guy's admitted love of Foxy being reflected by the smiling Purple Guy sprite during the Foxy Go 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 minigame. His distrust of the puppet, a creature haunted by his first victim that we see time and time again trying to bring a stop to his killing spree. His admitted role as a security guard, and even the weird phone-like object in his hand from the Save Them minigame. But there's even more evidence when we consider Five Nights 3. Consider this, he's the only person in the game who knows about the safe rooms. As we've mentioned before, all the safe rooms were sealed up back in the Springlock suit days, back in the first Freddy Fazbear's Pizza location. Meaning every other employee coming afterward would have never even heard of these things. Phone Guy is the only character we meet who would have any knowledge of these rooms, and more importantly, of how they operate, how they're invisible to the cameras, and more importantly, to the animatronics. And that's just the beginning. He's also the only person who knows how to use the Springlock suits. Again, once they were decommissioned, the suits were hidden away. Regardless of whether you believe that the killer used a Golden Bonnie suit the whole time, or you think he used a Golden Freddy suit, either way, we know for a fact the killer was using one of the yellow Springlocked suits, and Phone Guy is the only character we know who had knowledge of A, where they were hidden, and B, how they were operated safely. Now, I know a lot of people have said that it couldn't have been Phone Guy because he knew better. He knew that they were dangerous and could kill him, so if he was indeed the Purple Guy, he wouldn't just hop into a Springtrap suit like we see depicted at the ending of FNAF 3. But there's one key detail that everyone has been overlooking, and that Scott carefully included in this game. Listen.
He fits in it perfectly.
Hear it? There's rain. There are puddles on the ground. It's dripping from the ceiling. The killer had been using these Springlock suits safely for years, but in his panic to escape the ghosts, he failed to notice the wetness of the building around him. The killer had never encountered this problem before because the building had always been in a decent state of repair, but now it's a wreck, torn apart by age. Rain is able to seep in, something he didn't realize when he was in such a hurry to run away from the ghosts.
Oh, he got electrocuted him.
loosen the locks, you can bet some rain would make those suckers ready to snap shut. And they do, killing our killer. I mean, all of that makes a pretty compelling argument, almost an open shut case, if there wasn't one final major criticism to the phone guy theory since the release of FNAF 3. And it's a good one. The fact that phone guy seems to die during his Night 4 phone call from the first game.
Hey, listen, I may not be around to send you a message tomorrow. It's been a bad night here for me. I'm kind of glad that I recorded.
Hey, fuck off, alright?
My messages for you. When I did.
If Phone Guy was the killer, why would the robots still be active after his death and the ghosts disappear? It just wouldn't make sense unless you stop to consider the rest of FNAF 3's endings. The big twist in FNAF 3 is the inclusion of a good and bad ending. By completing the game normally, you get the bad ending, in which we see Purple Guy die in a flashback minigame, and the whole thing ends with 5 masks representing the 5 main animatronics with lights on behind their eyes. The good ending, meanwhile, requires using some not-so-subtly hidden clues to unlock minigames, then basically ignoring those games, glitching them out, and giving hidden dead kids cake to make them happy, obviously referring to the victims of Purple Guy. Beat the game this time, and the ending is largely the same, but with 1 fewer animatronic mask and no lights on. The obvious difference here is that in the good ending, the souls of the dead children have been put at peace. When they disappear for good. They don't go back to their animatronic bodies. But the bad ending? The lights on behind the eyes of all 5 masks mean that these guys are still active. Angry, restless spirits still haunting the robots to this day. Because here's the thing. The good ending doesn't exist until you, as the player of the 3rd installment, give cake to those kids during FNAF 3's hidden minigames. What you play in FNAF 1, though, is the aftermath of the bad ending, when the animatronics have killed Phone Guy, but are still out for vengeance. Through those first 5 nights at Freddy's, you overheard the death of the Purple Guy recorded live on the phone, but it wasn't enough. You got the bad ending. Even with the killer crippled in the back room in a spring-lock suit, the lights are still on in these animatronics. They're still roaming the halls, attacking anyone wearing that much-hated security guard outfit. People like Mike Schmidt, an innocent guy just trying to do his job at a failing pizza restaurant. And as the final nail in the coffin, what Phone Guy says in his Night 4 recording perfectly foreshadows what we see in the games.
Maybe sometime you could check inside those suits in the back room. I'm gonna try to hold out until someone checks. Maybe it won't be so bad. I always wondered what was in all those empty heads back there.
Think about what Purple Guy does. He hides in a back room, the safe room, hides in a suit, and despite getting sprung-trapped, actually does hold out until someone checks. Holds out long enough for the phone dude to find the hidden safe room, recover the animatronic, and set him free in Fazbear Fright. Exactly what the Phone Guy said he'd do in his final moments. And as Springtrap, he comes back in FNAF 3. Comes back like he always does. And with no real animatronics present at Fazbear's Fright, remember Springtrap is the only real one they've found, with all the rest scattered, probably located in dumps, which is why their bodies and faces are decaying. All that the spirits can do is appear as phantoms, hallucinations. Well, all except one. The puppet, who we see in his physical form roaming the hallways of Fazbear Fright. So real, in fact, that we see his reflection, visible in pools of water under his feet, meaning he is there and unburnt. There's only one way to truly end this. End the murderous Purple Guy, burning the place to the ground. The puppet gave robots life, gave spirits peace, and finally gave the murderer, the Phone Guy, his long-deserved death. Or at least tried to. And that is the end of the 5 Nights at Freddy's story. No hat, no movie, no 4th installment.
What? Oh, no! No!
Okay.
No! No! Oh my gosh, what happened? What's wrong?
Look!
Oh no.
But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching. Hey, if you enjoyed these theories, show your appreciation by subscribing to the channel. Seriously, I spent more blood, sweat, and tears on these scripts than I have on the entire 4 years of this show. You know, hopefully you liked it, hopefully you're satisfied with the conclusions I reached, and hopefully you decide to subscribe as a result. Wouldn't mind it. Now then, welcome back to the Super Amazing End Card Tournament, where today I just have a simple question. Are you excited about a Five Nights at Freddy's movie? Click over here to say yes, click over here to say no, and oh my gosh, it's Purple Guy! Watch out, he's gonna kill you!
Ah!
Stewie, what the hell did you do?
I opened my closet and there was an evil clown in there, so I killed him.
Oh my God! We gotta get rid of his body.
Wait, why?
Well, somebody might come around looking for him.
Yeah, who? The hot chick who dates the birthday clown? His parents who are so proud of their son, the birthday clown?
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
Anyway, that was my reaction to both Game Theories Mystery Solved Part 1 and 2. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and have a nice day.